getting an Xbox or a PS3 at the same time.
That's right. That is right. Nothing like it.
I
And
wish I wish every time I answered a question, I would get a console. I would go become a telephone operator.
it's a noble profession, especially for people who
It,
get consoles all the time.
if every time you answered a question, could you imagine how much happier customer service people would be if every time they answered somebody's question they got a console?
It sounds distracting with all those consoles. They'd be playing a lot of games while trying to answer questions.
Well, I mean, the consoles would be shipped to their houses, so they would work all day, come home, and just have consoles everywhere.
Well, when you're King KDH, you can implement that system.
When I become king, my
King
first
Danger
order
Hennick.
consoles for everyone. That's the plan.
All
Vote
right,
for me.
we are going to be heading into the loading screen right now, if my game will actually load. And looks like we are going to, my borderless mode has mysteriously gone over to the side. I'm not sure why it is over there right now. I might have to reconnect to this game.
Would be unfortunate.
That would be unfortunate. It would be very unfortunate indeed. So while I try and hash this out.
Well, let's take a look here. We have the team comps now. Epic running something fairly similar. They have their Salsi and Sona, or Salsi, they have their Ziggs and Sona by Salsi and Nat Nguyen, just like last game. However, Mashme trades out Graves for Corki, Clacky D trades out Lee Sin for Jarvan since Lee Sin got banned, and Westrice has Shyvana instead of Malphite. So not quite as much AoE CC, although still quite a bit of mobility on the purple team on Epic right now. So we're going to see a lot of that team fight jumping around that we saw last game. Likewise, blue team, we have a completely different team comp. Not one champion is the same. We do have that Karthus-Kennen combination of AoE damage and CC. We have the Warwick suppression. We have Ashe and Soraka as well. Also, blue team, interestingly enough, taking a Clairvoyance. Have not seen a Clairvoyance in a very long time.
Yeah, it is interesting, and you have to assume that they're going to be. I mean, Jarvan has the ability to gank very early, so it is good to get a CV. You know, at level 2, he has a very powerful gank, and we are going to see a little bit of an invade here from Epic Gamer.
Definitely, I think Epic has a pretty strong level 1 team fight with Ziggs and Shyvana going in on there. Also, Corki and Sona offer some pretty nice bursts, so that's not a bad idea on Epic's part, considering no team has a level 1 stun or any sort of level 1 hard CC.
And it looks like Epic scattering like cockroaches under the light of that Clairvoyance, but they are just going to come back. But the ward from Warwick will make sure that...
Ooh.
Ooh. Close.
That was almost extraordinarily terrible. As we see now, ProStyles having to bust Flash to get away from most of Epic there. This is an unfortunate split we have going on, as Subterfuge is all hanging out in their bottom jungle, and ProStyles hanging out up top there on the outside of Blue Buff, while Salsi and Clacky D and Westrice just sort of do what they please over there.
That's right, and Warwick running up by Blue Buff. He's going to be a very disappointed wolf.
Well, he's not, mostly because Blue Buff was not taken.
Not yet, that's true.
And Epic just backed off. I'm not really sure why. Perhaps they thought busting the Flash was good enough.
Well, they did force ProStyles back, but he had plenty of time to get back there before Blue Buff spawned again. Not really sure what their goal was. Maybe they were just trying to get that early kill.
Perhaps, I'm not entirely certain. But now we have Clacky D taking the early red buff on the J4 jungle, who he's starting boots pods. I'd be interested to see what his build is. Now level 2, he's coming in for a gank top lane immediately.
Yeah, and I'm surprised too, because Warwick is very dependent on Blue Buff early game because he is a single target jungler and needs to get those spam those abilities in order to keep up with kind of more AoE junglers like Skarner, like like Phoenix Udyr. So
ProStyles not having any of that, knowing that Jarvan's coming at level 2, tags him with a shuriken, and Clacky D is going to have to go back to the jungle.
Yeah, and that's another reason why you want that CV, is because if you can help out your top lane early with that, then you can, that Jarvan he has a lot of mobility. He does have that dash and knock up at level 2, and with that red buff, he can gank lanes very hard if you're not careful.
He certainly can, and Dan Clayton now 7 CS to Southeast 10. Nothing to speak of at this point, certainly, but I think Karthus is going to have a much easier time than Ari against the zone control of Ziggs.
Yeah, and yes, indeed, and I think that Dan Clayton's probably just going to change his playstyle a bit too, to be, probably a little sit back, be a little bit more interested in farming this game, and try and turn into that late game hyper carry that Karthus can be.
Definitely, definitely, and you'll see him here as he took a bomb or two from Salsa. He's able to trade back with his spammable Q ability, so laying waste to mid lane, he's just going to be able to sit back and farm with it as well.
Yeah, and looks like Epik is pushing Subterfuge back to the turret a little bit. They do have a very pokey lane between Corki and Sona, but once they get a few levels on that Soraka, they should be able to farm a little bit more normally. In the meantime, Westress looks like he's going to come down for a little counter jungling out of top lane and maybe go in for a dive here. No, just going to take Wolves, at least for the moment. And it would have been a pretty horrible plan, I think, because Classy is right there with Warwick in the jungle in the Wraith Pit.
Definitely, there's nothing more frustrating than thinking you have a brilliant gank idea, only to find that the enemy jungler had the exact same brilliant gank idea.
And
so
that is a sad wolf coming in and seeing his big wolf gone.
But
is that murder? Did Warwick just commit murder?
Well, he didn't eat them, so it definitely wasn't cannibalism. But it was. I don't know. It's like reverse racism, reverse hate crime. I mean, he's a wolf, but he's attacking wolves. I don't really know how else to say that.
I need some insight into the wolf legal system right now.
I don't know exactly how it works where they're from.
It brings up interesting questions about what Westress might do to Dragon this game as well.
It certainly does. We have Corki jumping in on Squad 5 down there. We have Mashme trying to get an early kill on Squad 5. There's too much heal, and despite Ignite and a nice Valkyrie by Mashme, Soraka, Squad 5 as Soraka is going to manage to make it out of that alive.
Yeah, and they're still being pushed back to turret, and Ashe down by 10 CS. She's not farming at her best on turret right now, and it is hard for her to pick up those CS. As you can see, she's losing a bunch from the turret, and we have a gank coming up top with Jarvan.
There's Westrice and Clacky D coming in on Pro Styles. We have that dash in. There's no red buff here, so we're not going to be... Meanwhile, Salsi getting first blood on Karthus barely. Warwick is going to pick up the kill on Salsi, so first and second blood going down mid lane. Kennen able to run away from the two from Jarvan and Shyvana top lane. I hate when that happens to us, but it's good that there's action in both places.
I missed that first blood, but I did get the second one, so sorry about that, guys. There's too much action sometimes in these games. And both of these teams, both Epik and Subterfuge, have been playing very aggressively in these matches. So we've seen some exciting... There hasn't been a lot of, sit back and farm. There's been a lot of counter jungling, a lot of team fights in that last one. And I think we'll probably see the same thing again in this match.
I definitely think so. I definitely think you're right. We have Nat Nguyen here at a pretty low HP total, though, is Sona, who's just going to be able to heal himself back up, I think. He's got really good control of that bush. Jumper and Squad 5 not able to get hardly even within experience range. Corki at full health, Mashme just last hitting as he pleases, basically.
And Shyvana again taking those wolves down, and Warwick is once more just a few seconds too late checking on them, and he's going to miss out on a little more golden experience as Westress continues to deal some blows to their jungler, and Warwick, he's not the fastest jungler in the new jungle anymore, so it hurts him a little bit more than it might champions that can clear these camps a bit quicker.
Definitely, definitely. In the old jungle, he used to be particularly fast, but it was a lot harder to stay alive in the old jungle than it is in the new jungle, so there is that to consider as well.
And we have some more pings going on. They know that Purple Team knows.
Purple Team knows that they're about to get Dan Clayton here. Wester's coming in. Jarvan, there's a flash from Karthus and a bomb from Ziggs, but Dan Clayton going to be able to make it out in spite of a lot of ultimates being popped, a lot of business being thrown down. He's going to get the flash and he's going to get out. So really good play surviving by Karthus there. And mid lane is just going to get pushed up.
And Clacky D happily going back to taking red. He's going to be a threat again once he gets that. And I'm interested to see how he chooses to build Jarvan here. If he's going to go more for gold per 5 items, or if he's actually going to get, some more Doran's Blades, or maybe a Wriggles. I'm not really sure. I'm intrigued, however.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen Boots, Doran's Blade, Jarvan Jungle. And I haven't seen Jarvan Jungle particularly in a professional setting in quite a while, so things have certainly changed.
And an Ash arrow coming out, going down mid lane, and unfortunately missing Salsi. Looks like that was a close one, though, as it just flies past him and heads straight through the map to the purple team's Nexus.
Definitely. We now have Clacky D was running in on top, but Pro Styles is Kennen able to just walk away. Ganking Kennen is extremely obnoxious.
I'm trying to figure out. Oh, I have figured it out, actually. So the Subterfuge just got blue buff for Karthus, and it looks like since Jarvan went red first, that their blue buff's going to be a little bit delayed. So Dan Clayton should have a bit of an advantage in mid against Salsi. Salsi just going in and sniping those wraiths right out from Dan Clayton's nose. So that's just going to be a little bit more CS for Salsi, and he is already up 70 to 45 in his lane. Again, doing a magnificent job at farming. He's, wow, 75 CS at 9 minutes. That is an extraordinary CS score for this point in the game. Really nice work. Salsi is handling Ziggs brilliantly.
He's doing a fantastic job, and we saw it last game. But his Ziggs is definitely a force to be reckoned with. He's just able. I would be surprised if he missed a CS in the first 20 minutes of that last game. I don't know that he did.
He did have 200 CS by around 20 minutes. And Classy's going to go pick up red. He is 6 now, so his ganks are going to be a lot harder. And Dragon will be contested, I imagine, quite soon. Let's take a look at bottom lane real quick. Looks like we have 60 CS to 75, so Epik again up in CS in that bot lane. But their kill difference is only 100, so Shyvana in top 53 to Kennen's 56, so I'm not really sure, they're pretty much dead even. I'm not sure where that extra gold is coming from, and Kennen almost
only
going
100
down
extra gold, and I think
to
it's coming
Westress
from
in
first
top
blood.
lane.
Yeah, Kennen almost went down there. I think the extra 100 gold is coming from the first blood that occurred.
That's correct, but the CS advantage is heavily up. And we have an Ash arrow going down on Nat and Win in bot lane.
Yes, definitely. He's going to get tagged by that. Warwick's going to come in with the ultimate there. So many heals. So much damage being put out. Karthus is going to press R, and he's going to pick up that kill on Nat and Win. That is the advantage of having Karthus on your team right there when you're just barely getting away. A lot of that happened last game, and I think Karthus was a really good counter to that.
Yeah, and interestingly...
And now blue team's just going to do Dragon. We're going to see Subterfuge pick up the first Dragon of the game.
Yeah, and they're going to be up by about 1,000 gold in the lead when all is said and done if they can pull off this Dragon, which I have every reason to believe that they will.
I don't think there's any reason they can't. They're going to force Ziggs and Corki both out. Dan Clayton doesn't want to let Corki get away. He's going to keep in on that as long as he has the mana. And a lot of Qs going down. He's got the blue buff. So can he pick up this Corki? It looks like he's going to be able to. Oh, yep, there's some auto attacks. Going to pick that up. Unfortunately, Ziggs was going to get Kennen somehow. I'm not quite sure. He must have run mid lane and thrown the bomb as Westrice was doing damage to him on the tower. So it looks like Westrice is going to take top tower. And I think, yes, Subterfuge did pick up the Dragon. So that puts them 1,000 gold in the lead now. The kill score 3-2.
And this game a little bit more passive than the last one, but we are seeing some nice ganks, especially in bot lane. Some good arrows by Jumper, hitting Nat and Win, and managing to turn that into something. And especially chaining that Warwick ult to it immediately afterwards by Classy. Good communication there, although they didn't quite get that kill on Nat and Win. It did turn out in their favor.
Westrice is taking top turret there, and I think that's the price you pay sometimes for Dragon. But I think all said and done, Kennen's going to be totally happy to just sit there and farm his lane. Yeah. The Ash arrow coming in now, not going to land on Salsi, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's pulling some nice arrows from base, but they're just not quite close enough to Salsi. Salsi has escaped the grave a couple of the times there now.
He certainly has. I think the team that Subterfuge has put together really deals with a lot of the problems from last game, which is people getting away. I think last game, Epik had such a mobile team that they couldn't stick to them for long enough to get anyone down towards the end of the game in those team fights, which is what really made it difficult for them to pull that game ahead. And in this game, when you have Karthus and Soraka and Ashe and Kennen and Warwick, you can make sure someone stays in one place long enough for enough damage to go down. And if for some reason they get away, Karthus will press R.
That's right. I'm really interested to see this Jarvan has to be very careful about who he ults because with this AoE team, if he gets a bad ult off and corrals his team in with the AoE, it's going to be really bad for Epik. So
I think he's going to be aiming for Jumper. That would be my guess.
yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. If he can just isolate one champion, that would probably be best so he doesn't get caught in and go down very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Ulting Karthus as Jarvan is not typically the best of plans.
Well, conversely, though, if he can corral a bunch of the other team and Salsi can land a really nice ult, you can
That's true.
you know, you make the basketball hoop and then Salsi comes in with the ult dunk.
Dunk Master Salsi here. We're going to see purple team. Epik is gonna come in on Subterfuge's blue buff here. And it looks, oh man, they're gonna jump in. Jarvan's gonna ult Pro Styles. That was a very unfortunate engagement. I don't know that it was certainly wasn't a purposeful engagement on the part of Pro Styles, but that was a very unfortunate happenstance for him. As now we have Westrice is just going to push up on top turret.
And I could be wrong, but with this cloth armor Ruby Crystal, looks like Westress might actually be going Aegis of the Legion this game.
I think he is. Cloth armor, Ruby Crystal, Cloth armor, Ruby Crystal, and no Magic Mantle. He's a little bit away from an Aegis, and I think he plans on getting it.
Yeah, it looks like Westress, with this team comp, planning to go more of the utility top lane and benefit his team. And, you know, I guess he's assuming, probably rightfully so, that Corki and Ziggs will be able to do enough damage in order to still be effective.
There are pings all over the blue buff area. We have Pro Styles coming in on Westrice, landing the stun. Westrice is going to flash over the wall, and it looks like he's going to get out just fine. Meanwhile, there's pings all over bot lane, but I don't see anything particular going down.
And it does look like Jarvan will be building up to that Wriggles Lantern. He does have Modred's Razors now, so he's going to be going a relatively offensive build and not relying too much on those gold per 5 to get him into some more wealth in the late game.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know that as Jarvan, I don't know that you need the gold per 5s, although it is certainly viable. He got those Madrids, and now he's going back. He's going to finish out his Wriggles, and he's going to pick up a no Magic Mantle, so he's doing pretty well for himself thus far.
Yeah, he's going to be able to clear that jungle pretty quickly. Warwick going with a relatively similar build. Again, looks like he's going to be getting those Blood Razors, or the Razors into the Wriggles Lantern.
Yes,
or maybe
yes,
he's just going to go straight offense and get a Blood Razor, but I would be very surprised if we saw that.
I don't remember the last time I saw a Blood Razor built in a game. Although
it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while, but Warwick has been doing it more frequently as of late. We're going to see Dan Clayton deciding that no Salsi, as a matter of fact, you don't just get to walk through this wall without taking some damage. So he's going to lay down some of that there on the turret. We're going to see Clacky D going in, about to give Ziggs his own blue buff. So Ziggs going to just be perma-blued.
And we have a dead even game. Looks like Epik has managed to come back on the strength of their CS and has turned this game into one that couldn't be closer.
No, it really couldn't. 3 kills on each side, 20k gold on each side, and no one is really quite sure how they want to engage at this point. Salsi deciding to just go for this mid-turret, and Classy is going to have to run around from the side to try and stop him. I don't know if he's going to make it in time, though.
No, I don't think that he's going to be able to do much.
He doesn't need to.
We see some action going down in top lane as Ken is having a tough time getting away from Westrice.
Oh, Westrice jumping him on the tower just after his ultimate ends. He's going to land the ignite, but Soraka ult is going to do a little bit to keep him alive. Not enough, though. Westrice, a really nice dive there. He's been all over Ken in this game, just up on his tower, really pushing him there, really making sure that there's not a whole lot Ken can do in terms of fighting back. And Westrice is just pushing straight in. He's going to take this tower out and keep going.
Looks like Dan Clayton might actually get a kill because Westrice is taking some tower shots there. I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of this. Dan Clayton seeing him and doing a great job. I don't think that Shyvana can
I don't think Westrice is going to make it out. There's Dan Clayton coming around from the top, and Westrice is going to have to burn out and go around. He's going to go up and around, and he's going to meet Warwick. Warwick turning on his blood scent, and he's going to get that ultimate. And I think Karthus now, if he doesn't, yep, there we go. We're going to see red buff take out Westrice. So a gutsy dive by Westrice taking out Cannon and a turret. They're going to pick up the kill there. And the gold, though, is going to be tipped in the favor of Epik still.
Yeah, that's the second time in these two games that we've seen a rather unfortunate blue pill, you know, taking... Oh, and...
Oh, the Ash Arrow going down, hitting Salty right in the face. The Karthus wall, Salty's going to flash out, but Ash is going to be able to get that last hit in after the cannon stun, so really well played there. That ward in the bush really doing a lot for Subterfuge. Talk about Subterfuge. Speaking of, Salty thought he was safe, little did he know. And now we have blue team going in on the dragon. Subterfuge is going to take this, their second dragon of the game, and Jarvan he might get stunned by Kennen here. All Kennen has to do is land an auto attack to get that third mark. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to get close enough to do it before his team has to back off. So we're going to see a mid push, I think, coming out of this one.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because Epik just gave up a free dragon right there by being just a little bit out of position, but nice work by Jumper to land that Ash Arrow.
Definitely, and you know, despite the free dragon, they are still tied in gold. Jarvan coming in, landing that ultimate on Warwick. Classy's going to flash out of that. A stun's going to come off from Kennen, and Ash able to get those last hits up still. We're going to make sure that this turret in mid does go down, in fact, for Subterfuge.
And I don't know if they're actually going to be able to get out of this with all of Epik chasing them down.
Oh, there's an ultimate from Kennen. That thing is off cooldown again. We're going to get Jarvan to go down. We're going to get Sona to go down. The Salty ultimate is going to happen. Dan Clayton, now dead, is going to be able to ult. Pro Style is going to pick up 9 win. Salty's going to get, he's going to get Westrice, and it looks like Kennen and Karthus both down. Warwick is escaping with his life. And we have an unfortunate situation for poor Squad 5 down there with Mashme. But we have a ping going down on Mashme. It looks like Jumper's going to come down and try to get that kill.
And by the way, Salsi having 302 AP before 20 minutes. I don't know if you saw how much damage he did to Jumper in that fight with just a couple bombs, but it was phenomenal. And so he's going to be really hard to slow down. He is up at 190 CS with Rabadon's death cap and 5 kills. So they really have to have a solution for how they're going to be dealing with Salsi. And I would have to say that Salsi's performance, considering that he has 5 of their 6 kills, his ability to stay alive is going to drastically affect the outcome of this game for Epik.
Yeah, it certainly is. You notice Salsi, just like in last game, whenever those bombs fall, people lose about half their life bar, depending on who it is. So he's just able to put out tons of damage.
Well, his bouncing bombs currently doing 450 damage each.
450 per bouncing bomb. And that
at 20 minutes.
What's the cooldown on this skill right now? The cooldown on bouncing bomb, 3.8 seconds.
That's right, less than 4 seconds. So he's just an amazing source of damage right now for Epik. And looks like we're going to see Epik take down this tower with no contestation.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot they can do at that point, but it's okay. Jumper's going to be able to farm up a little bit now that lane will just push on its own. We have all 3 outer turrets down on Team Subterfuge. The mid turret only down for Team Epik, but Subterfuge does have 2 dragons, so things are just about even. Only 200 gold up on Team Subterfuge despite being 2 kills ahead. So this game just locked down.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this one turns out. We haven't seen, you know, a really full team fight, you know, into the mid game yet. So I think that both teams are afraid of doing so, because since it's so close, the team that wins one of those fights is going to be able to get a huge advantage, and they should have enough damage now that Corki has Black Cleaver in order to do Baron. So it's kind of one of those things where if you lose a fight at this point, you might actually see that lead jump by several thousand gold.
Speaking of Jumper has Infinity Edge now, so we're going to see a lot of damage. Jumper was chunking that turret down there, and bot, you notice it's already almost gone, that outer turret for Epik, and I think it was almost full before that last push. So things are going to get hairy. They're going to get hairy, they're going to get dicey, they're going to get icy. Lots of other bad
You saw Classy there trying to set up for a Warwick ult on Salsi over the wall, but Salsi was wise to his tricks with a ward, and so he just tossed a bouncing bomb in his face and said, hey, I'm getting out of here.
Those are always the times when you're jungling and you think you're brilliant, and then whoever you're trying to gank throws something at you and you say, well, they seem to have noticed me.
And they're just going to surprise Ash in bottom lane. They're all sitting in
Jarvan is going to jump in, Sona's going to ult, Corki's going to lay the ult down, but they were focusing, oh man, Salsi's going to lay that ult down right on top of the Jarvan ultimate. I don't think that was expected, So a really nice burst of damage there. Salsi coming in from the mid lane, laying down that minefield, and purple team is Epic is gonna do one hell of a push on bot lane right now.
And that's exactly what I was saying about. That's how you get dunked, kids. Play some b-ball.
Indeed, you set up the hoop and you slam the ball straight down into it. We have Westrice just pushing top against ProStyles unabatedly as this business goes down on bot lane. Classy looking for an ult on something, but I don't know that he's going to be able to get it. Corki's just going to push away. He's just going to auto attack that tower, and Subterfuge is going to have to back off and let Epik take that. Meanwhile, after that happens, we have Jarvan coming into Soraka. We have Mashmi shooting him a whole bunch. Kenan's going to get that ult out. ProStyles is going to get knocked back by Satchel Charge, a very well placed Satchel Charge by Salsi, and Mashmi is going to end up with a kill there.
Yeah, very nice play. And it's, the problem right now is that Ziggs with blue buff has so much poke. You have the Corki rockets for poke. The Dragon Lance from Jarvan has a pretty good range. And normally you would say like, oh well, Soraka, she's got a lot of sustain, so she's going to counter these poke comps pretty well. But Salsi does so much damage at this point that it's really difficult to contain the poke even with that Soraka pick. And this split pushing by Westrice has just devastated the towers of Subterfuge. She just keeps pounding away at them, nearly getting the second mid turret, doing half damage to this inhibitor turret at top lane, and getting all the way through her lane already. So just really nice job and map awareness there by Westrice, and taking advantage of the fact that Epik can hold Subterfuge at their own towers with poke, and while they split push and be in a relatively safe position.
Yeah, and we were talking about how we thought Shyvana might be building Aegis. Actually, she just built Wriggles, Wits End, Merc Treads, and a Phage. So she built what you normally see on Shyvana, just not the way you normally see it.
Yeah, in a little bit of an odd order there for sure. Maybe she was considering it, and maybe Westrice made a change after seeing how the game was going and that he was winning his lane pretty well.
Perhaps, well, and that he's just mostly split pushing. He hasn't been in a team fight, really.
And we're going to see another jungle invade here, a little bit by
There's
purple.
Two wards from purple team in the same place, but that's okay. Now they have twice as much vision.
That's right. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, and Epik now taking Dragon for the first time this game, but not only are they taking Dragon, they're taking Dragon quickly and completely without contesting. So Warwick sees two wards, he's going to get twice as much gold from this Oracles, so that's good. He's going to take both of those wards out. And we're going to see a lot of just blue pilling here in mid lane, I think.
So Epik has taken a slight advantage, 3,000 gold up, still dead even in kills, and those towers really being the story of this game. And Dan Clayton in mid doing a nice job of farming up as Karthus this game. He hasn't been as far behind Salsi as he was last game, and he was able to hold his own a lot better as Karthus than as Ahri, and his ganks have also been wonderful going down into bot lane.
Definitely. And at 3, 2, and 5 with 204 CS, he's on his way to a death cap. Unfortunately, Salsi, 6, 2, and 1, 248 CS, has a Void Staff, a death cap, a QSS, and 2 Dorans along with his Sork Shoes. So I think Salsi realizes he might have been the target of some Warwick ultimates.
Yeah, and we're seeing a passive game this time. Both teams taking a very different approach to the last game where we had seen so many kills in the early and mid game, and there's still
Ash Arrow barely missing Salsi there, as you've been saying earlier. He just the skin of his nose every time.
Yeah, I'm surprised. He's kind of lucked out a bit that he hasn't had one hit him yet.
Yeah, but he has that QSS in case it does, so I don't think he's too concerned.
Well, he does now. He hasn't for most of the game though.
That's true. For most of the game, he has not. At this point, I think he's okay.
Yeah, and that's a great buy. He knows he's so far ahead at this point, considering he has pretty much all, he has 3/4 of the kills on his team, that he's doing enough damage, and it's a great buy to get that QSS just to stay alive so that Warwick and Ashe can't hit you and focus you, have the rest of Subterfuge focus him down.
It'll be a lot harder for him to get killed in the team fight now as he leads the charge on the mid turret here, which Subterfuge's mid turret barely existing at this point. A couple auto attacks from Corki will take that thing down, no problem.
I can't remember the last time I saw Salsi without blue buff this game.
Yeah, I don't. It looks good on him.
And zoning him out there so they're able to take that turret with Corki auto attacks. Very nice job by Epik. Blue team's just having such a hard time because they can't get in with the Hextech minefield zoning and all the poke. They just can't engage properly.
which is really unfortunate. That's why you have to have that Asho and that Warwick ultimate. That's what this team comp is really based on for their initiation, as Kennen is just going to get pushed, is just going to get focused as he runs into the team fight. So, it's a really difficult situation. Baron is being done, and Subterfuge not really in a position to do anything about it. There's the Ash Arrow, though, not quite fast enough for the steal, although that would have been epic. No pun intended.
Yeah, and we see, interestingly, Jarvan picking up a Hex Drinker this game. That's because of all of that AoE magic that Subterfuge can put out.
The Karthus ultimate especially.
Karthus ultimate especially, yes. So great buy there. We're seeing some really smart itemization from Epik in order to maximize their advantage. You might not normally build that Quicksilver Sash on Ziggs, but you do this game just because of the circumstances have allowed him both enough gold to do that, and the fact that it is critical to Epic's success that he remains alive.
Especially with, as you said, 3/4 of the kills.
Yes, all of Epic's eggs are in one basket. And that basket also has bombs in it, so you have to be especially careful.
Yes, it's got bombs in it. Nothing worse than exploding eggs. That stuff gets everywhere. It's messy. Look at all this poke. As you were mentioning, Corki just getting free auto attacks. Westrice up there against Kennen, just not really caring at this point, just pushing everyone around. There's a team fight. We got a whole bunch of AoE ultimates going in. Demacia, we got Karthus getting in there. He's going to lay off that ultimate. He is going to pick up the kill on Salsi, but I think everyone else is going to make it out of there alive. We have Squad 5 and to run back, and Purple Team just not really taking that much damage. They're rather tanky, and people are calling GG already.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is pretty much over at this point. With all the long respawn timers, they shouldn't have too much trouble taking this out, especially with this Corki and his tons of damage that he can deal. And this should be GG. They're just going to push forward with Baron buff right to the Nexus, and Epik will take both games from Subterfuge, but well played by both teams.
Indeed, Jarvan dying to Soraka. Corki getting that kill at the end there. That's GG from Game 2 for Epik and Subterfuge. Epik going 2-0 in the series and moving on to the next round.
That is right. And as we wrap up, we have more games tonight. We're so full of games, guys. We can't get enough of you. We want to keep bringing you these games. And so
many games.
So many games. We've got some more coming up. We've got Team Fortnite versus Ability Powers Magic on the GG Chronicle 2 channel. I'm not sure if that game is still going on or not because we've been casting. And at 8 p.m. EST, 5 p.m. PST, 12 a.m. Dead Midnight GMT, we are going to have V8, another fantastic pro team versus RU Gaming, and we're going to be bringing you a lot more games tomorrow as well, including Goose, now known as MTWNA, Reflex, and we've got some other pro games lined up as well. So check us out tomorrow. KDH and I will be back and casting at you some more. In the meantime, you can enjoy some more area of defect music, and make sure to head over to gaming.stackexchange and ask and answer your questions for your chance to win those gaming consoles and just really participate in a wonderful site.
You got to make sure to check them out.
You know what I love about gaming? It's like, not only do they make this tournament happen, they also, it's not hard to plug them because I really like what they do.
They do great work. The website is fantastic. It's easy to use. It's fun. It's fun to answer questions. It's fun to get your questions answered.
That's right.
And it's really fun to win consoles.
It's super fun to win consoles. So, all right, guys, we are going to be back tomorrow. In the meantime, you can enjoy Silver Dirge and Frodan on GG Chronicle 2 if their stream is still going, and Raise Your Weapon Media out of the Pacific Northwest. They are in Seattle. They cast local lands up there all the time. They will be doing V8 versus RU Gaming in a couple of hours. So I hope you guys stay tuned and get yourselves ready for that. Thanks a lot for listening. I'm Monte Cristo with